In this video, we are going to be talking about the hardest or most challenging parts about nursing school. Stay tuned. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are already part of the family, for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Kiara Selena. I'm a licensed practical nurse, and on my channel, I mainly talk about nursing, but we also talk about beauty and hair. So if you're into those stuff, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell to not miss another video from me again. Before we start, you guys may be thinking this is a whole, no, the back of my shirt is lace, okay? So quickly come on here and make this video for you guys because I'm in a rush. I'm about to go out, but I wanted to come on here and still make this video because I've been trying to post as consistently as possible almost every single day, and I wanted to quickly touch on a topic or on a question that I get asked a lot, which is what is the hardest part about nursing school. So I'm going to tell you guys what the hardest part was for me. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to be the same thing for every single nurse out there. Everybody has a different experience, but I'm going to tell you guys what the most challenging parts about nursing school was for me personally. So one of the things that was the most challenging for me as a nursing student was kind of coping with the amount of information that was being thrown at me in so little time, right? Because it doesn't matter what route you take, whether you do the 1 year or 2 year LPN program, depending on where you're from, or the 2 year ASN program or ADN program, right? 1 year or 2 years is not a lot of time, and the amount of information that they have to feed you and ensure that you understand before they actually send you out there into the world, caring for people and actually having lives in your hands. Like, there's so much that you have to learn and about so many different things, all the systems, a lot of the disorders that comes with each system. You have to learn all these things, the signs and symptoms, the drugs, how to administer them. You have to learn all of these things, and not only the theory part, you also have to do the clinical part where you're actually learning how to do these things that you're reading in your books, right? And all of that has to be done in so little time. So I remember maybe 3 weeks into my nursing program, we had walked into the classroom one day and the teacher had all these abbreviations written on the chalkboard. And not only on the chalkboard, she also had it on, like, there was 2 boards. She had both boards completely full with stuff, with all these different medical terminology, all these different abbreviations that we had to know in order to be able to properly read our charts and understand what's being written by doctors and nurses, right? So there's so much that you have to learn in so little time, and that is one thing that was very challenging for me. That was really hard for me in nursing school was working and going to nursing school. Now, because I lived with my parents, I had the luxury to kind of cut down on my hours and only work on the weekends. But even that was like really challenging because weekends was pretty much my only time to really get in the books, really study and relax because I'm at school Monday to Friday. At first, I had started off with going to work after school, which was just, personally for me, it was too much. Now, if you have responsibilities, you have children, and you have to do what you have to do, those things will give you the drive to do it. It'll be hard, but you will get it done. But because I knew that I still lived with my parents and I could cut down on my hours, I personally chose to because I wanted to put all of my time and attention on my books. But I also didn't want to kind of put the weight of like my personal responsibility on my parents, because even though, you know, I'm their kid, you know, I'm not the only kid that they have to, well, not that they have to take care of, but I'm not the only kid in the house. I have other siblings. My little sister does not work, so she needs, you know, help financially, you know, with little things. And personally, I just felt like I was too grown to like be asking my parents for money. If your parents are balling and they can afford to kind of just throw money at you, cool. I know my parents were gonna help me. I just didn't want to put that burden on them. So I still cut down my hours, but I still worked on the weekends just so that I could pay, you know, take care of my debts, take care of my credit card, take care of my phone and my transportation and everything on my own without having to bother them. But like I said, even if I was only working 2 days a week, that was still really tough for me because, like I said, those were my only 2 days to really study. And when I started doing clinicals, when I started doing clinicals, I was doing clinicals during the week and I was working on the weekend. So I was pretty much working 7 days a week. If you are doing the theory part of your program, because it all depends on how your program is. My LPN program was 1 year of theory and 1 year of clinicals. So during my 1 year of theory, if I was working, well, I was working then. And even when I was working then, it wasn't too hard for me because I was in class all day. So I was pretty much sitting down. I wasn't exerting too much physical energy or anything. The energy that I was exerting was kind of like mental. You know, I had to be there mentally, but physically it wasn't really that demanding. So it was easy for me to go and stand up and work as a CNA after school on some days. But once I started doing clinicals where I was on my feet from like 6 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and then I had to go to work and work as a CNA and still be on my feet from like 4 o'clock all the way to 11:30, it was just too much for me. And even on the weekends, like I said, when you're doing clinicals Monday to Friday, and even after clinicals, you got to come home, you have to study, and then you still have to wake up, you know, on Saturday morning and go to work and come home and study. It's like you're always working in the first part of your day and then you're studying the last part of your day, and it just becomes, the burnout is real because you're burning yourself out physically and you're also burning yourself out mentally. So working and going to school personally for me was challenging. I'm not even gonna lie. This is not to discourage any of you. It's a sacrifice that is worth it, but it will be hard, and only the strong will survive. The next thing that's hard about nursing school is your finances. Your finances will be low. Your pockets will get low because you are unable, like you won't be able to work full time if you're a full-time student. I mean, I know there are some people who do it out there. I call them warriors, honestly, but if you really want to put all of your focus into nursing school and really ensure, not saying that if you work full time you won't be able to pass nursing school. There are thousands of people out there who have done it, but if you are like me and you kind of just want to devote all of your attention or most of your attention to your studies and stuff like that, well, you're going to cut down on your work hours and therefore you're going to be broke. Even though I was working 2 days a week, those 2 days a week that I was working did generate money for me, but money for me to take care of the things that I needed to take care of, like my debts, my bills, you know, stuff like that. But it didn't really leave much for me, you know, to save or to go out or do any type of self-care activities or anything like that. I couldn't do those things. So yes, my bills were taken care of, but I was broke and it sucked. So your money will run low as a nursing student, and that's another thing that kind of sucks about being in nursing school. That is really challenging about being a nursing student is the fact that your social life is like, just forget about your social life, honestly. At least while you're in nursing school, there will be no going out, there will be no clubs, there will be none of that. You may be able to, depending on your program, you know, you may have like a little slower time or, you know, a weekend where you can maybe, you know, go out with your friends and have a drink. But for the most part, like you're not going to be going out every weekend. You're not going to have the free time that you had before nursing school because you are going to be tired from clinicals, be tired from theory. You're going to be studying all the time because you're constantly going to have tests and quizzes and stuff like that. So your social life is gonna, you know, it's gonna go out the window because you're gonna have to kind of focus on your books, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, right? Sometimes you just need to sacrifice one thing in order to excel in something else. If you want to become a nurse, it's a small sacrifice you're going to have to make. But remember that even though you're not going to be able to enjoy your time or go out as often with your friends, when you do graduate, you will be able to do those things again. So it's not like it's a permanent sacrifice. It's something temporary. So don't be too discouraged about that. But it is something that's challenging because there will be times where you're going to see your friends going out, you know, see them on Snapchat or on social media taking pictures together, and you're gonna want to be there with them, but it's gonna suck because you can't. And that's just that. And the last thing that was very challenging for me in nursing school was adapting to nursing style questions, or should I say NCLEX style questions, I guess. Because nursing style questions aren't like your regular exam questions. It's not like what the types of questions that you would get if you were in another field, or if you weren't in the medical field, right? So in nursing school, you may have exams where you may have to write out the actual answer, or you might have to identify parts, like, you know, identify different parts of an organ. You know, they might give you like a diagram or a drawing of like a heart or something, and you might have to label each part. I had a couple exams where I had to do that, but for the most part, nursing exams are multiple choice. But process of elimination doesn't, well, yes, the process of elimination does work, but the tricky thing about nursing questions is that when they give you multiple choice options, most of the time, 95% of the time, all of the options will be right, and you will have to choose the best one. So it's not going to be like your typical multiple choice questions where you're going to be able to right off the bat see that, you know, okay, like, no, that's absolutely not the answer, and then you can kind of just eliminate that. Most of the time, all the answers will make sense, and you will have to find the best one. So adapting to that and learning how to do those types of questions, or how to answer those types of questions was challenging. But at the end of the day, the more you learn, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And especially when you go on clinicals, your critical thinking skills will get stronger, especially on clinicals. I feel like when you're doing the theory part of nursing and everything is like kind of by the book, it's kind of hard for you to see the bigger picture. But once you're actually in clinicals and you're actually starting to do things, you actually have real patients with real problems, and your teacher is like questioning you and stuff, everything will start making sense, everything will start to click. And then at that point, you know, exams will get a little bit easier. It's a bit challenging in the beginning when you first start doing it, like I said, but don't worry, it'll come with time. And that's kind of something that's going to be a little bit tough for you to adapt to, but it will come. So in the beginning, yes, that was something that was very, very challenging for me. But like I said, you get used to it. It still is hard. It still requires for you to be sharp, because at the end of the day, the reason why they make the exam tricky is to make sure that your critical thinking skills are sharp, that you know what you're doing, and that you won't be endangering your patients. But if you know your stuff, you'll be fine. That is it for the things that were hardest for me in nursing school. If there was anything else, if any of you out there are nurses and you guys faced any other challenges in nursing school, please leave them down in the comment section below, because I know that there are a lot of, you know, people who are about to start nursing school and kind of just want to know what they're getting themselves into. So let them know in the comment section below. But for now, that is it for today's video. If you liked it, please like and share. Somebody else may benefit from the information of this video. And if you want to see more content like this and you are not yet subscribed, please do so. And most importantly, turn your notification bell on so you will be notified when I post another video. That's it for today, and I really hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye.